Well, the FIA Formula 3 European Championship headed to one of the most famous racetracks in the world for the sixth round of the 2017 Championship. The circuit, Spa-Francorchamps, steeped in motorsport, with Eau Rouge and Blanchiment, two turns taken at blisteringly high speeds, testing the nerves of experienced and rookie drivers alike. As the F3 is a support race to the 24 hours of Spa, there are many former Formula 3 drivers on site. We caught up with one of them, F1 driver Kamui Kobayashi.
My 2 years in Formula 3 was really high level, and yeah, I think obviously I learned a lot when I was in that time about driving my skill and about racing as well. And in the end, it was very tough, but I had to say it was I think obviously the best time of running time.
Well, before we take a look at the race action, Rick Calamilot takes us around the lap of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit aboard the Dallara F317 Mercedes-Benz.
Hi, I'm Calamilot. I'm racing for Premier Power Team. We're here at the longest track on our calendar, Spa-Francorchamps. Enjoy.
So we're going down the main straight. This is where we'll be starting the race. That was the start-finish line. Now we're braking into turn one. Obviously it's in wet conditions, so it's a little bit slower than normal and you're braking earlier than you would in the dry. And the important thing is to get a really good exit because you've got a long straight after this. So as we come down to Eau Rouge, this is where you prepare for the best line and the shortest distance possible. In the wet it's just about flat, so it's a real challenge early on in the laps, and in the dry it's easy flat. So as we come onto the straight in the wet, I think we max out about 230 kilometers an hour. In the dry, it's a little bit more with 250 because of the different tyres. Now we come to Le Com. For the wet, it's third gear, dry is fourth gear. Roughly around the 50 metre mark on the dry where you brake. Through this section, now into turn 7, I think. Try and get a good exit. It's quite important. Now, coming into a long right, this is third gear, both in the dry and the wet. In the dry, obviously, we're quite a bit tighter, and in the wet, you use a lot of the outside, especially around these corners. Now, we're coming to Pouhon, one of the fastest corners on the track, which isn't flat. In the dry, it's very close. Right now, I'm shifting down to 5th, sometimes 4th in the wet. It's generally quite tricky because you can't really judge on the exit where to be and what speed to use. Now we're coming to what we call turn 13, 14. Take a wide line using third gear. In the dry is fourth gear. And yeah, in the dry you're obviously a lot tighter than I am in this video. Here is also important for an exit, both in the dry and the wet. Not as important because here in the wet it's a little lift, so you can make a bit of time up if you haven't got the best exit out the corner before. Now we're in the last sector. In the dry you want the biggest toe possible. It makes a big difference in qualifying, and you gain quite a lot of time, so it's very important to get a good toe, good slipstream. Now coming to an important braking, both in the wet and the dry. I think on this lap I messed up the braking a little bit. I was too late, locked up the rear tyres, so I missed the apex a bit, and with a bit of oversteer. Wasn't the best section, but yeah, wasn't too bad either. So in the dry that's a lot smoother, a lot faster. So this was a lap of me in Spa-Francorchamps.
Well, qualifying was met with dry conditions, and Lando Norris set the fastest time for all 3 races. Right behind him in race 1 is Calamilot. Well, at the start of race 1, our pole sitter on the left-hand side of your screen, number 31, Lando Norris, aboard his Carlin Motorsport machine, led into La Source. The Premier Power Team car of Calamilot in second, followed by the high-tech machine of fellow Brit Jake Hughes in third. Maximilian Gunther in his Power Team car, powering through Eau Rouge in the slipstream of the cars ahead of him. On the Kemmel Straight, it's all about having a good slipstream. Lando Norris and Calamilot side by side through the right-hander and onto the Kemmel. It was Calamilot off the track. Coming back onto the track, Canamilo hit Jake Hughes, and Hughes out of the race on the right-hand side of your screen. Well, Canamilo and Jake Hughes, resulting in Arlott getting a drive-through penalty for that incident. Meant he had a bit of overtaking to do after that contact, passing Ralph Aron. That was for 4th. The Briton not yet taking his drive-through. Joel Eriksson fighting for 12th. In the middle of the pack after a bad qualification for the Swede. And on lap 7, the 99 machine, Nikita Mazepan, overtaking championship leader Maximilian Günther for 2nd. So Mazepan to the outside, around the outside of Günther. He went. Mick Schumacher repeated the move of Mazepan on Günther. This time the Prema Power team car around the outside of Ralph Aron. So Aron down to 7th and getting slower, now being passed on the way to Blanchiment by Pedro Piquet's Van Amersfoort machine. But out front, there was no issues for Lando Norris aboard his Carlin Motorsport machine. A dominant first win for the Brit from pole position in this first race of the weekend. 2nd, Nikita Mazepan. And Maximilian Günther aboard his Prema Power team car, rounding out the top 3.
This track's known for having quite high degradation with the tyres. So I had to try and save them a bit, especially at the start in case there was a safety car more towards the end. But there wasn't, so yeah, last few laps I could just relax a bit more and yeah, try and save the tyres a bit, but very happy with first place.
I was a little bit angry with myself because I killed my fronts in the middle of the race, so I lost a bit of pace. But obviously, you know, finishing 2nd is very great, it's awesome feeling, so yeah, very happy.
We did not have the amount of grip in the car, in the middle sector mainly, that we wanted to have, but yeah, still good points, and we will keep pushing.
More racing action with the FIA Formula 3 cars from Spa-Francorchamps right after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the FIA Formula 3 magazine show from Spa-Francorchamps. And in this moment, Nikita Mazepan took 2nd place in race 1, overtaking Maximilian Günther. It was the first podium for the young Russian in FIA Formula 3.
Hi, my name is Nikita Mazepan. I'm racing with FIA F3 with High-Tech GP. Yeah, definitely achieving maximum from the car, making no mistakes in races, avoiding crashes, and hopefully top 3 in the championship. Yeah, so I started racing when I was 7 years old in go-karts, quite a long time ago. I started back in Russia in go-karting, class micro, and then it slowly progressed and never stopped since that day. Yeah, big fan of Spa-Francorchamps track, a real driver circuit, high speeds, high-speed corners, and yeah, good grip, awesome in the rain as well, so just everything that you could wish for is there. I'm a big fan of sports in general, big fan of triathlon sports, especially like swimming and cycling. So yeah, I try and do that as much as I can because I enjoy it and it's good for my racing. Yeah, definitely a fan of the Italian food. Big fan of pasta, although it's not the best diet food you can have, but it's very tasty. So yeah, any time and any chance I have when I'm good with the weight, that's my choice. Yeah, so I have all the social media profiles under my name, which is Nikita Mazepan, and anywhere you're looking for, that's the name you want to go for.
Well, sixth on the grid for the second race, the Russian looking to maximise the 33 minutes plus 1 lap. On pole position again, the Brit Lando Norris, alongside him fellow Brit Callum Ilott, and they headed off down to La Source once the lights went to green. A good start for the front two. Lando Norris leading into the first corner ahead of Callum Ilott. Then it was Yang Zhao of China in front of Maximilian Günther. So 3 Prema Power Team cars raced through Eau Rouge, chasing the Carlin car of Lando Norris. Well, the Kemmel Straight didn't disappoint. Norris getting slipstreamed and bullied out by the Prema Power Team cars, dropping 2 places and then leaving things a little bit too late under brakes into Le Combe. Clattering into the side of Zhao. And spinning the Chinese driver around. Maximilian Günther hitting the front and passing Callum Ilott, his teammate, around the outside into Le Combe a lap later. And then moving to the 4th lap of the race, Jake Hughes and his high-tech car passing Callum Ilott around the outside for second into the final corner. Two Carlin cars battling now. Ferdinand Habsburg behind his teammate Jeroen Daruvala. And then moving up the inside of the Indian star to take 4th place. Meanwhile, behind these two, Mick Schumacher on the grass trying to pass Nikita Mazepin. That for 8th place. And now Ferdinand Habsburg trying hard to pass Jake Hughes. He manages to do that as out front Callum Ilott goes around the outside of Maximilian Günther, takes the lead of the race, whilst we were watching Habsburg and Hughes battle it out. Maximilian Günther now with a run on his teammate and getting the move done before the braking zone. He re-inherits the lead of this second race, with Ferdinand Habsburg now right on the tail of the 2 Prema Power Team machines. Well, in a mirror move, Ferdinand Habsburg up the inside of Callum Ilott. He did just that to his teammate a handful of laps ago, and now he passes the front row starter for 2nd place. Lando Norris fighting back. Whilst the Swedish fans cheering on Joel Eriksson, started from 12th. Ferdinand Habsburg had his eyes on the lead. And it wasn't long before Habsburg passed Maximilian Günther into Le Combe at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Action throughout. That is Callum Ilott being passed by Jeroen Daruvala. Run out wide on the exit. Nikita Mazepin takes advantage, and the Brit drops 2 places. This is Joel Eriksson. Eriksson passing Maximilian Günther for 2nd. So the Swedish fans will be pleased with that. But for Carlin and Ferdinand Habsburg, it's been a picture-perfect race. He's fought his way through to the front. The great-grandson of the last Austrian Emperor, Karl I, standing on the top step of the podium for the first time in FIA Formula 3. And due to a second penalty, or 2-second penalty, I should say, Nikita Mazepan ended up 7th.
It happened this year that I started wearing them, and
to the podium.
I went to a test day and I forgot them, and I was like, can you bring my boots with me? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And I have a yellow pair and a black pair, and he brought one of each. And I was like, you didn't specify what colors. So then I had the test day, I did really well, and then I just got scared as a sort of thing to go back to it, so I just went sort of well from there on, and I think I'll stick with them. Also, Alex Sports had different colored shoes, so it must be an Austrian thing.
Yeah, for sure, it was quite good because I was starting from P12, so I had a lot to do this race, but it was really, really fun actually. It was one of the most fun races I've done, for sure.
And P3 was for me the maximum, and yeah, for sure with the points for the championship. I'm happy, especially because also one main competitor did not finish the race, and yeah, for the moment it was a good Friday.
So correction, Mazepan down to 7th, Darragh Vuller 5th, Callum Ilott 6th, Jake Hughes in 4th. Lando Norris crashing into Zhao.
And yeah, then made contact with Joe, which wasn't his fault at all. It was all my fault. It was just a mistake from my side. So yeah, I apologize to him.
Good sportsmanship from the Brit. After this short break, more racing action from the FIA Formula 3 series, so stay with us. Back with the FIA Formula 3 magazine show from Spa. Lando Norris set the fastest time in qualification for race 3, but for causing a collision in race 2, he got 3-place penalty. One of the people responsible for that decision is 5-time 24-hour Le Mans winner Emanuele Pirro, who is at Spa as the driver advisor.
For me personally, it's difficult because if you have to punish somebody, I feel bad. But from the other end, you contribute into teaching them to become better drivers, safer drivers, and to how to smarter drivers. So it's good. I'm here. This is not paid. It's for free. So I'm here because I like it.
Well, inheriting pole position was Callum Ilott aboard his Prema Power Team machine. Alongside him on the front row was Zhao. Ilott staying in front into La Source. Maximilian Günther tucking in between himself and his teammate. And then it was Lando Norris just behind the 3 Prema Power Team cars. This time, Lando Norris was to take advantage of the slipstream, overtaking Callum Ilott, who lost 3 positions on the run down to Le Combe. So Zhao took the lead, and you can see the black car of Lando Norris fighting with Maximilian Günther, having passed Callum Ilott. On the second lap, Lando Norris overtakes Maximilian Günther around the outside for second. Further back, it was Lando Norris's Carlin teammate Darragh Vuller overtaking Jake Hughes. Joel Eriksson, who started from 10th, overtaking Carlin driver and race 2 winner Ferdinand Habsburg. Lap 3. Callum Ilott overtaking Maximilian Günther for 3rd, ahead of the battle between Darragh Vuller and Jake Hughes. Jake Hughes trying to overtake Günther. Jake Hughes 34 to the outside. Günther, and there's contact, sees the German into the barriers.
Coming on the left and tried to leave him at least 1 car wide place on the left. Finally we touched, and we both crashed out of the race, which was not good. But after rewatching the scene the first time, I have to say there was more or less 1 meter more space on his left that he did not use. And I mean, if he's not using that, it's tricky for both of us.
Well, after the restart on lap 6, Lando Norris overtook Zhao for the lead of this third race. Joel Eriksson overtaking Jeroen Daravula here for 4th. So the one plate of Eriksson up the inside into Lecombe. The Indian surrendering that place aboard his Carlin Run machine. Calamilot now overtaking Zhao for 2nd. The battle between the two Prema Power team cars. One in the braking zone, and the Brit going through into 2nd place at Lecombe. All eyes now on race leader Lando Norris. And it was the turn of Joel Eriksson, the one plate to pass Zhao. That was for 3rd. And then Joel Eriksson set his sights on Calamilot, and the pole man passed around the outside. And Eriksson into 2nd. Ilott now back to 3rd. Ilott's pace continued to drop as his teammate Zhao found the way past and settle into 3rd place. But Lando Norris, it was out front who was to take the checkered flag. His 5th victory of the season, and the McLaren junior driver winning by a margin of 2.3 seconds over Swedish star Joel Eriksson and Ferrari protege Zhao from China in 3rd.
Yeah, good to bounce back from the disappointing result in race 2. Yeah, 2 wins, fastest in all 3 qualifyings, both practices, so it's been a very strong, near perfect weekend for us.
I'm quite happy about my own effort this race, but still we have to go back home and investigate what we did wrong on the qualifyings, because that's our weak point at the moment. So, but it feels quite good because the start of the weekend was really bad for us. So it feels good to have at least 2 podiums now when I go back home.
The start was really good. I got to the lead. I had a nice gap, and yeah, unlucky the safety car came out. So in a straight circuit like this, on the straight, it's so easy to pass when you don't have a toe. And yeah, I got past after the safety car restart, and during the race, the tire was a big degradation, so the rear was really snappy, and I was trying to keep the car like as more stable the rear as possible, and yeah, in the end, was quite good.
Well, at the end of this Spa weekend, and despite his accident, Maximilian Günther remains in the lead of the driver's standings. The next race is in 3 weeks' time in Zandvoort, Netherlands. We'll see you then.